We thought it'd be cool to look back on some 2024 moments. Let's get it started.
Take a picture of me like this. Someone come get me.
So our first shoot was the maple over in Lake Hughes. It was all chewed out at the bottom, and there was power lines and well caps, and the tree needed to go. The Despur was just, I guess when you're getting up into that skinny stuff, a lot of times like when you're in that area and you know you can save some time, you can kind of like twist it a little bit. And that's kind of what happened to me on that one. Was I was kind of like corked around, and I just had my spurs in maybe 4 inches of wood. So that's never great when you're trying to work like that and you're twisted. And also I was trying to make the cut too like that as well. So I just had a little bit of a Despur there, and it came down, and Darren yelled up, "Oh, you almost caught your hand." But at no point did I ever think my hand was gonna get nicked by the saw. But it could have happened. And so two things happened in that tree. There was the Despur, and then there was the one I got caught with that piece, and that was so much worse than the Despur because the piece was so heavy. It was probably like a good, I don't know, maybe 150-pound piece or something like that, but it was only hanging on by just a little bit of hinge, and I had underestimated the amount of weight that was coming one side. And again, I wasn't super cozy. I wasn't like in the greatest spot.
Oh no, I'm pretty, oh, this is so bad.
I figured I could just use the same lowering line from the other piece because I had already had it set up. So rather than go up and reset up kind of on another angle and then get in the spot that I should have been in, I just kind of stayed where I was to save time. And I thought, leaving a little bit of hinge, I could just do an over-under and then just kind of push it over like this, and all the weight wanted to come towards me, and I got stuck trying to hold it, and then I just weaseled my way into a cozy spot, and I had it like that, and then I was able to like and let it fall behind my head.
Woo!
At one point, I pretty much came to the realization that I was gonna get hit with the piece, and I was gonna have to just kind of like take the shot, and it just missed me, so I got lucky. But one of those things that after you've been doing it for so many years, sometimes complacency does kick in a little bit, and you're telling yourself, okay, I can save time by doing it like this, it's gonna work. Anyway, I ended up getting bit in the ass with that one. The job in Blue Hills on the farm was great. The client was super fun to work for. It was such a beautiful day. It was one of those days where you knew you're going into work and there's not really much to stress out about because there wasn't really any high-risk takedowns there. There was so much room to work. So it's just one of those days where you can go out with your buddies and you can work and have a good time. The root mass in the back, we were kind of trying to guess whether it was going to sit back down or whether it was going to stay that way. A lot of times when it's a recent uproot and you go cut the trees, you can get the root mass to sit back down. So you always got to make sure you're paying attention, and you make sure the pets are inside, and you make sure there's no kids around, or even your co-workers or the client or anything aren't back there, because we have had massive root masses just sit back down. That one didn't go anywhere. There was like probably, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 trees that were coming out of that root mass, and once we cut them all, it didn't even budge. I fell through it at one point. Like, it wasn't a full root mass, it was very superficial. But that was a great day. It was a lot of fun, and the video turned out really nice too. The underwater episode was fun. Tim got to jump in the water and made for some pretty cool shots. Usually we don't, around here, if a tree falls in the water, we don't disturb the eco footprint. We'll just kind of like let nature take its course. But anytime the trees are impeding boat access or something like that, we don't have a choice but to go out and take out a section of the tree. So that's what we did. But just like the buoyancy of the tree, every time Tim was trying to make a cut, like it just kept wanting to close on him. So he was really had to work because it was so pinchy. So yeah, the way that it was edited, it was kind of edited down in a way where it didn't seem like it took that long, but poor Tim, man, did he ever battle trying to get through that piece.
Because you have to press down, but
it sinks.
Well, you're treading water at the same time too, so.
Anyway, it worked out. It was fun, and we all had a good laugh, and it was a fun day. Yeah, that was a nice road trip. Took us about 2.5 hours to get there. Again, we were working for great people. They were really, really awesome. We went in and had lunch with them. That was a fun tree. The scenery was gorgeous, such a beautiful lake. Really a good tree to stay sharp on. Sometimes during the season, you'll have a period of time where you're going out and you're just kind of doing like mundane trees, you know, like spruces and balsams, where you're going up, you're taking the branches off and you're popping tops, and there's not really much to it. But that was a tree where I really had to kind of dig down deep into my toolbox and kind of remember mathematics and calculations and stuff like that, and some really, really fun rigs, like some cool rigs, like swinging stuff away from the roof and then watching it go out towards the lake, and the ground guys just perfectly dropping stuff down where it had to be. It took a while, you know, we were probably about like 6 hours in the tree. The limbs were 30 feet plus over the roof, so we took our time and we got it done, and that was a really fun tree. It was a nice big poplar. There's a lot of jokes that day. All around a really, really cool road trip. That cracked maple was probably likely one of the more nerve-wracking trees of the season, I'd say. We had a lot of comments of other climbers and stuff saying, well, how come you didn't have a lifeline and you didn't put a lifeline in and stuff like that. I still trusted that that wood was gonna hold. The video didn't really do it justice to start off, because in the tree up where I was looking down at how much that crack was opening up was super, super nerve-wracking. And at one point I was thinking, okay, I'm just gonna go and we're gonna cinch the two pieces together just to kind of like keep it from opening and closing. I came so close, didn't end up pulling the trigger on that one, just ended up doing it anyway. It worked out, but again, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't a hardwood. Like in a cherry or maple or something like that, you can get away with it because you know it's just so unbelievably strong. A softwood, 100%, I would have had straps, I would have had it braced off, I would have had my lifeline in, and we would have done it a completely different style. I was just really, really happy once I was out of that one limb. That one limb was just so icky to be in, but anyway, we got her done.
You beat the crack.
Holy
The big pine was kind of a good example of, you know, like we'll have little camera here trying to get a good shot, and because anytime you've got the opportunity to do a one-piece takedown like that, it's always pretty cool to try and get multiple angles. And we had the little stand camera close, and as the tree was coming down, there's a little broken widowmaker that came down and knocked it down right at the perfect time, so we kind of missed the shot. But in a way, it still made for a cool shot because we incorporated it in, and kind of a good example of how you should be rolling at all times, because you never know when something cool is gonna go down. It went exactly where it had to go. It was pretty cool because he had a whole bunch of baby spruces that they had planted, and I told him, I said, don't worry, it's gonna fall perfect. And in my head, I was like, well, you know, we might touch one of these little guys, but it fell perfectly between like 2-3 of them. Didn't even like break a single branch on a little baby tree, so I was pretty proud of that one. It was funny, we got a good chuckle out of that one.
It should fit right in here. I bet you we don't even break one little tree. I promised them we wouldn't.
Oh yeah, the Raccoons was, yeah, that was a close call. That day could have gone a whole lot worse. So we got pretty lucky. The tree was hollow the whole entire way up. You could see openings in it. Like there was like 3-4 holes that you could see from multiple sides. So going up to take the tops off and stuff like that wasn't really an option. And we had the space. So I just ended up kind of reaching up. I'd say maybe around like the 5-foot mark on the tree, because I felt like there was gonna probably be more hinge there. And so I was like, okay, we're all good. I still had no clue that they were in there. And then on the back cut, the tree came, fell perfectly, and I could really hear them at that point because they were just fully exposed, and I peeked in and they were just like a few inches where the chainsaw had gone in. So they were literally probably just like tucked under, and the chain was coming like right over their heads, just missing them by a couple inches. And I was so happy that I missed those. And then the mom ended up coming back and relocated them. Unfortunately, we don't have an x-ray machine for trees. Another one of those you never know what to expect type days.
Okay, I like that so far.
Basically, we're a company that specializes in dangerous takedowns. So 99% of the trees that we're taking down are full removal. So we spur the trees. We did one in Lake Louisa. Basically, the guy was having a brand new garage built, and there was 2 massive limbs that were over the roof that needed to come down ASAP. So I had gone to quote that job literally 2 days before, and then had to push a couple of jobs back to be able to go in and do an emergency removal of these 2 limbs. So I probably should have explained this in the video the day of, but I spurred the tree going up, but that tree was going to be a full takedown anyway come spring. He wasn't able to get the permit for a full takedown, but the tree was destined to come down anyway. So I went up and spurred the tree and took the branches off that were over the roof so that the shingle guys were able to get their cherry picker in and properly place the shingles up on the roof, and that the roofers wouldn't have these branches hanging over their heads the whole time they were working. And then when you've got people kind of writing in saying, oh, well, what are you doing spurring the tree and this and that? It's basically regional, right? Like not everywhere in the world have like the same mentality when it comes to spurring trees for pruning. When you have an arborist that's gonna go up to take off basically 30–40% of a canopy of a tree, but he's not spurring the tree, right? So he's setting up and then he's going up via the rope, and then he's getting into the tree and he's literally cutting 30–40% of the branches off of the tree. To me, my mentality is I've never seen in 25 years of doing this a tree die from being spurred, but I have seen them die from being topped and being pruned, because you're wounding the tree so much more by taking a branch that's a foot wide off of it than gingerly putting a few spur holes in a tree. If you've ever seen a black bear climb a beech tree to go up and get the beech nuts, he'll go up and down this tree for years. The tree is completely scarred. The tree's still perfectly healthy and grows nuts every year and everything's fine. If you see a woodpecker, a sapsucker going into basswood, you know, they're putting like hundreds and hundreds of holes in these trees, and the trees are perfectly fine. So yes, okay, for a centennial tree or a heritage tree, 100% I will not spur the tree. If you climbed a diseased tree, you wash your spurs before you climb into another one. Common logic. But I have a hard time when I have these kind of these finicky arborists that are like, oh my God, I can't believe you spurred this tree just to go up and get that branch. At some point we have to come up with like some common ground and some logical, rational methods here, right? But anyway, that's just me, that's just here, that's the way we all grew up climbing here. And again, I'm a full takedown specialist, so I leave more the pruning jobs to other guys anyway, but that's just my take on the whole spurring the tree thing. So work here in the winter in Quebec, Canada is special. We tend to not climb in the wintertime. We're open for emergency takedowns if there's an ice storm, if there's a windstorm, there's a cracked tree that's about to fall on a house, or a tree that came down across a driveway. We'll clean it up. When trees are frozen, you can't control them anywhere near as good as in the summertime. So for example, if you're cutting through a frozen maple branch, in the summertime you might get 80% of the way through. That branch will still be strong enough to hang on, but in the wintertime, once it's frozen, you might get maybe halfway through that branch and it just explodes on you just because of how frozen it is and all like the tension that's caught inside that branch. It's way more dangerous to climb in the wintertime, plus it's miserable because your fingers get cold, your toes get cold. The ground men are just basically standing there freezing until something happens. So it's just, it's not really pleasant. We still do it. There's winters where we've been busy all winter. There's some where it's just been too cold. Like a few winters ago, we got like 9 feet of snow, so the trees are completely covered. So when you're climbing, you gotta put a hoodie on because you just have snow coming down your back the whole way you're going up and taking branches off. So there's that factor too, but it's nowhere near as busy in the wintertime as it is during the other 8 months of the year, for sure. We're super young, we're trying to figure it out. The whole YouTube world is very new to me too as well. It's also just talking too as well when I'm in the tree and explaining stuff. Everything's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. We've got a good base now and we're just gonna build on that, make the channel more interesting, and we're gonna really take into account your feedback. Thank you for all the positive feedback. It's been really cool reading all the nice comments and the bad comments too, because the bad comments help, so keep them coming. And thanks for all the subscriptions, and thank you so much for watching the channel. And we're gonna be better for you guys, we promise. We're gonna rock out in 2025.